Alright, YouTube, it's still the same day, but we're gonna do another install video on something. Got kind of carried away and I already installed it, but I have to go back through and fix some of the wiring that I did to it. So yeah, so here is the video on how to install a STI gauge cluster in your GD WRX, and oh my gosh, is it's you gotta do it. Doesn't matter what any of the purists say, can't put STI gauge cluster, I don't care. It looks so much better than the WRX gauge cluster. So let's get into it. It's actually super easy. Pretty much any kind of like tools at home will, be able to do it. And actually one of the tools you'll need is a paper clip. It's got to be pretty small and long, but you will need a paper clip for this video. You will also need Phillips head screwdrivers, and that's it. Pretty much some basic knowledge on how to open a wire harness, and Phillips screwdrivers and a paper clip. Anyways, let's get into the video. Okay guys, here we go. Obviously this is not where the WRX gauge cluster goes. I already had taken mine out and installed the STI gauge cluster, but I need to go back in and fix some of the wiring that I had taken apart, just because it just kind of looks like a rat nest in there and I want to make it look nice. I want to make this whole car look nice. Lucky for me, I've already done my quick disconnect steering wheel. If you're watching this, I might not have the STI quick disconnect steering wheel video posted yet, just because I'm waiting for some bits there we go, down there, so that I can wire in my horn. So for right now, if you need to do WRX what's it called, quick disconnect install video, it's not out yet. It will be. This gauge cluster one will be out first. So yeah, let's get into this one. First things first, if you have a quick disconnect, take it off. If not, let's get straight into taking off these Phillips screwdrivers. Sorry, these Phillips screws. Dang it. I'm so stupid. Phillips screws, not Phillips screwdrivers. Okay, here we go. All right, so you got one up in there, if it'll focus. And another in the top of the shroud up in there. Oh yeah, another good thing to do is to take your steering wheel lock and lower it as far as it will go. It'll give you a lot more room to work, especially if a quick disconnect. If not, still do it anyways, because it will give you more room to work while you are getting in there. All right, so we're gonna take this bit here. Oh. Then we'll do this one as well. They're almost totally impossible to find. All right, sweet. That fell on the ground. Yay. We're gonna put it up here next to the one on the clock. I'm sorry, it is a tad bit of a spoiler reveal. Here is the cluster. You're gonna pull on the bottom of these shrouds. Oh, that one just came off. There's just two tabs right here and here. Give it a little yank. It'll be kind of hard to take off at first. It's also pretty bendy, so you should be able to have it come down like that. Boom, and there is that cluster exposed. All right, now that you have the cluster exposed, you've got 3 screws here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, pull those out, and then the cluster should just pull out nicely. Alrighty then, now you have those out. Gauge cluster is nice and loose, so you should just be able to pull on it and expose the wires in the back. There are 3 connectors, 1, 2, and 3. There's official names for them, but I really don't remember what they are, and for the purpose of this video, we're just going to call them 1, 2, and 3. Sound good? All right, sweet. Here we go. All right, so I have the first connector out, and there's the second and third connector over there. Once I have those out, I will show you what you guys need to do next. So for all of you who are doing it to WRX for the first time, it will just look like this. There's the third connector, second, and first. Here's what the actual connection pieces look like. Third, second, and first. But there are some modifications you're going to need to be doing to your wiring so that you can run this cluster and make it look, you know, somewhat decent. You can see what I mean, where I need to go back through and retape these wires. It just looks like a terrible rat's nest in here. So if we compare the STI and the WRX STI clusters, you can definitely see the differences. You know, white, it's all, you know, blacked. I definitely need a new screen up top here for this, but that's what happens when you buy stuff used. Yep, you know, it's pretty similar. There's the water temp, fuel, tach, speed, water temp, fuel, tach, speed. This speedometer only goes to 140, this goes to 160. Both tachs have a 9 mil rev. And this one though has a shift light. That's really cool. I'll show you how to use that once you get on it. You know, trip button on the WRX, trip button on the STI, same stuff. Yeah, looks pretty baller. Now if you look at the connection pieces here, there's the WRX, here's the STI. For these two, for 1, 2, and 3, oh shoot, yes. So 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2 look exactly the same except for they're inverted. So you're just going to take these wiring, those 2 wire connectors, and you're just going to flip them around and they'll fit just fine. Now this third one, you can see that there's a major difference between the two. With the WRX one, where the little fin here is straight and the 4 little divots are lined up perfectly there. On the STI one, the divot is off to the left a little bit, but still has the 4 little grooves. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to shave down this third connector harness here, like we did. You're gonna have to shave down the, oh goodness. Shave down these 2 fins like this, because if you shave down these 2 fins, the connector will slide over to this, connect here, and then leaving these 2 pins down in there exposed. It won't affect anything. Gauge cluster will work perfectly. Fuel, everything will work just fine. You're just leaving those 2 exposed. I'm pretty sure those just connect to the DC-CD. I have a 6-speed, but mine does not have the DC-CD. If you have a 5-speed, it won't even matter. But if you do have a DC-CD, or you want to swap to a DC-CD 6-speed transmission in the future, you'll have that, and then you'll just have to do some harness wiring over there. But for now, you're just going to want to do is take these 2 fins where you can see there's some residue. Just take a knife to them. You know, be careful. Don't, you know, cut yourself or anything, but, you know, scrape those off, and then it will fit just fine. The grooves will fit for these 2, and then it'll just clock in right there. Everything on this one locks in perfectly, as is these 2. And then I'll show you some wiring stuff you're gonna have to do here too. But yep, that's the differences between the 2 clusters. Now let's move into the wiring. All right, so my phone is overheating right now, so bear with me if the video, you know, gets a little weird. All right, here we are going to be looking at these connectors. Remember, this is 1, 2, and 3. All right, on connector 1, it's gonna be super simple. You're gonna come over here. You're gonna be looking at this flat side right here, not the one with the button, but this totally flat side. You're gonna look under here and you're gonna count from the right over to the left. You're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And B9 will be this empty hole right here on mine, but on yours, you'll have this, I'm gonna cream and white colored wire. And you're gonna want to remove that wire. Please don't cut this wire. If you do, it's just gonna cause a lot more issues for yourself. So you're gonna remove this wire. And you're gonna remove this wire by being able to pull this tab back. I used a Phillips head screwdriver and just pulled on it till it popped out. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that trusty paper clip of yours, and you're gonna find the big hole that aligns with this empty hole, which is gonna be the second one if you're looking at it from the left here, and you're gonna just count it 1, 2. You're gonna slide that paper clip in, and it's going to unlock it so you can pull that wire out. Once you have that, you're gonna move over to the second connector here, and what you're gonna be looking for is open spot B4. Of course, on mine I already have it done, but on yours you will have an open spot at B4. So if we look at it from the middle here, not even worrying about that section, over on the right, you're gonna count that empty slot there, 1, and you got that red and brown wire, 2, that green and yellow wire 3, and then you'll have an empty hole there, and that's where you're going to put that I9 wire, that B9 wire that you just pulled out. So there you go. You're going to fill that slot B4 with that wire, and by doing that, you're going to make sure that your rear diff light doesn't turn on. It's just a ground. It won't affect anything, I promise you. By grounding it, it'll just look more stock, more clean, just aesthetically pleasing. All right, on this one, you're going to move on to the top here, and you're going to go look over, and we're going to be holding it here with this groove in the middle, and you're going to go through that third hole, which is going to be empty. On mine, it's empty. On yours, there's going to be a wire there, and you're going to want to pull that one out. You're going to do the same process we used to pull the wire out from the beginning. You're going to pull back this tab. You're going to find the corresponding bit hole, which is going to be this third one. You're going to stick that paper clip in there and pop the wire out the back. Once you do that, you're going to move it over to oh my goodness, sorry, you're gonna move it over to B16 here, and on B16 there's gonna be nothing. Of course, on mine I've already moved the wire, which is gonna be this red and black, oh my goodness, red and blue wire, and you're just gonna put the new wire in place there. That's gonna be, you're gonna have that one empty hole, and then a 2-second empty hole, and then you're gonna fill it with that wire that you just got from B28, and that will be in B16. I got all this information from a video, and he got all this information from this diagram, so I'll put that in the description. Then you can go through and read it if this video doesn't make any sense to you. I'm trying to make it so it does make sense, so sorry if it doesn't. So sweet, after that, all that wiring fiasco, you're gonna want to go through with some electrical tape and put these wires together so they don't look like absolute trash. Even though no one can see it, your brain will know, and we want things to look aesthetically nice. All right, now onto this third connector. You won't have to do any wiring, yay, but you are gonna need to play with some knives here. If we're looking at it from the top, I know I've already explained this, but I just wanna make sure to go over it again. If you're looking at it from the top with this groove and then button on the bottom, you're gonna wanna take a knife and just start slicing until this is flat as you can possibly get. Once you have that nice and flat, this little groove will slide the connector over, leaving 2 bare pins. I know we've already talked about it, I just want to explain it again. And everything will click in perfectly. So I'm going to tape these up, and we're going to put the harness back in so I can show you guys how nice and perfect it fits in my 2005 STI swapped WRX wagon. So, all right, sweet. Now we've gone through and we've retaped these. They'll come with some heat shrink on them. It's not hard to pull off. Once you do that, the heat shrink will no longer be usable. So I did a pretty okay job with this one. The wires are all kind of bunched up, and I really didn't want to stress the wires out too much, as they are almost 20 years old. So I just kind of kept them in a universal, a group, and then I just taped them up lightly so that they still can move, but that they don't look as messy. So I'm going to show you that this one that we played with fits still, and then these two, again, where they did come out of the WRX, you're just going to flip them the other way around for the STI cluster, and both of these will fit in no problem. So I'll show you that one fits. We'll plug these ones in, and I'll show you that this cluster makes this car look so darn cool. So you can see right there that those fins help us to be able to make it so that little connector piece fits there and there, and then the button fits perfectly where it needs to. And let me show you that it just clicks right into place. There you go, and that is the connector piece clicking in. So there we go, that one's clicked in, not going anywhere. It'll stay there perfectly. You don't have to worry about it coming out. And then those two will still be exposed, but don't worry about it. It's not like water or anything can get back there. So you'll be just fine. And those will probably, again, I don't know, they'll probably connect to the DC-CD. And since, if you're a WRX owner, you don't have one of those, you don't have to worry about that, and it'll all be good. So let's get these put in, and I'll show you that this thing works just fine. Now I got all the connectors in. I forgot to mention, when you are pulling it out, there's going to be this little tab that holds the wires in. You can, if you want to, pull that out, and it'll make life easier. And then when you're pulling it back in again, pushing this wire harness back up against it like that will make it look cleaner. You don't have to do it that way, but it does look pretty nice. Now you've got it in place. Take your STI key that you can get from Amazon. Just letting you know that these are things you can buy from Amazon. If you have an 05 or older WRX or anything 05 or older that Subaru makes, you can buy an STI key and have it cut, because these 05s don't have a chip in them. So you can use the uncut STI key. It'll make your whole STI look a lot cooler. And speaking of that, some cool STI stuff. Here we go. And it works just fine. Now, the rear diff light did turn on, but that's because all the lights are turned on in accessory mode. Just wanted to let you know. Once you turn it on, though, you won't be able to see that rear diff temp light. And if you hadn't have changed that wire earlier, you still have had that on, and it's no bueno, and it won't look nice. Tonight, I'll film it better when it's turning on. It doesn't do it justice right now. The rev limiter thing works too. Now that I've taken it out, I'm gonna have to redo it here. I'm gonna set mine at 5 just for the fun of it. There we go. See, even that works. That's pretty cool. That whole thing, the whole STI cluster works just fine. So then to put it back in together, take those screws, put it in. So once I have those put back in, I'll show you again, and then I'll see you tonight so we can actually see this beautiful cluster in all its glory. Sweet, sweet. See you guys in a minute. All right, so here is the STI gauge cluster at nighttime. So here we go. Oh, there we go. All right, so yeah, the gauge cluster works just fine. Works with your brake light, works with the lights. Only thing I have on with mine is the airbag light, but that's because I haven't got the resistor for my quick disconnect steering wheel. The DCCD light will always be on, but that's just how it kind of works. You'll have a different odometer, so make sure you remember to take a picture of what your odometer is before you change it. You'll have an outside temp light, even though you don't have an outside temp sensor on your WRX, but you know, it'll still come on anyways, and it's actually pretty darn accurate. Mine's about 10 degrees off of usually what it is. So yeah, so there it is. That is the STI gauge cluster, and that's how you install it, and that's how it looks, and it's pretty awesome. So if you have the means to do so for your WRX, you definitely should, because it looks awesome and it works great. So yeah, thanks YouTube. Peace out.